So I guess I'm a little bit naughty, a little bit tongue in the cheek about this recording I'm doing now, but it flows directly out of something that happened to me yesterday afternoon. So there are two different roles that I'm recruiting for the same client, but both at fairly senior levels. And with the first role, I reached out to a candidate via LinkedIn, told him what the roles I'm recruiting for, and asking if he would be open to an exploratory discussion to see if it might be of interest to him. He responded back to me with his phone number, and I call him. Now, right off the bat, he is very, very abrupt and rude and short with me, and he expects me to explain absolutely everything about the role, including who the client is, even though it is a confidential search, so we don't disclose it up front, and wanting to know everything before he's willing to give me any context about himself. And for me, that's important because even if I can read your LinkedIn profile and see that you are working in the right space and that you have got the right qualifications and the years behind you for the role, I still don't know whether the geographical area will work for you. I don't know whether the salary is within a range that could be attractive to you. And I don't know whether where you see yourself going and the growth that you want to do might resonate with what I'm recruiting for you. So just a little bit of context helps me that when I start telling you about the role and the organization, to actually do a better job of that and hopefully save you some time, that we don't go into a 20 or 30-minute discussion and it's actually something that can't work for you in any case. So I'm trying to save him time on this, but he's not open to any of this at all. He wants to know everything and not disclose anything whatsoever. So I guess our conversation lasted for about 2 or 3 minutes. And he said, well, there's no purpose for us to talk any further then. And we exited the conversation. Now, I must say this too. It is very rare for that to happen to me nowadays. I mean, I can't remember the last time. It must have been years and years ago, the last time that someone treated me like that when I reached out to them about a role. So it certainly is not the norm. On the other hand, the second candidate that I reached out to was for a more senior position. And this individual, although he's really not actively in the market, was happy to have the conversation with me. And he was just nice about it, right about it, the way that most people are about it. So he actually stopped on the side of the road to make sure that our connection doesn't keep on breaking off because he was traveling somewhere. And we spent a lot of time. He gave me basic overview of what's important to him, what would resonate with him, and whether it's worthwhile even pursuing the conversation further. I could then give him a lot of detail about the company, the opportunity, and all the if, buts, and maybes around that. And we had a very, very fruitful discussion. So he walked away from that thinking about the role, and he will come back to me by end of the week to let me know whether we are going further with it or not. Regardless, he is on my radar and I know what he is looking for, so I can keep on being in discussion with him when other opportunities come up, even if this one might be something he doesn't want to look at now. And in addition, he will send me some of his peers or colleagues that might be a very good fit for this role if he is not going to pursue it for himself. So you can imagine, if I am recruiting for a role that is an absolute perfect fit for candidate number one in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, I am very, very unlikely to give this individual a call because of the way that he treated this conversation, and he knew what the call was going to be about up front. So I didn't catch him off guard on that at all. It might have been a little bit off in timing, in which case he could have said to me, look, it's not the best time to talk now. Can we talk tomorrow? And so I'm taking note here because I'm thinking, okay, this individual needs to go into a company where there is already some history. So he's going to need to be able to work with a lot of senior management and bring them across to actually support the space in which he will be working again. He's going to work with a lot of government organizations and regulatory bodies where he would need to build strong relationships if he wants to get anything done effectively. He's going to have a team of people reporting into him, and if he can't handle one phone conversation, I'm concerned about what he's going to do once he gets into this role. So I'm very careful about talking to him further. Now, of course, someone can just have a bad day and then, that's what it is. But you must remember, as search consultants and headhunters work with a candidate, we take note on every step how you respond and work with us. Because if I ask you for a copy of CV and you send me a very poor quality CV, but you are going into a senior role where you need to do presentations and you need to do reports and various kind of written communication like that, if that's the quality of CV you send through to me, I'm concerned about what you are going to do when you are in the role. Similarly, if you promise to have information through to me at a certain date and time and nothing is forthcoming, but I also don't hear from you that apologies, I'm going to be late with it because something urgent has come up at work, which I can handle and I can manage that. But if you don't tell me about that, I think, well, you actually just don't care what you promised to do. You not behind this and your commitment is not into what you are doing. So again, I'm thinking once you are into that role that I'm recruiting for, what are you going to do? Is it going to be a drag for your employers to get the information out of you that you are supposed to be delivering on all the time? And so, of course, none of these things in isolation would be a deal breaker, but you start stacking them up and the concerns become more and more, and we are making notes about that. The same way that you would be making notes about us as headhunters and recruiters, the way that we work with you. Do we give you feedback, even at times when maybe a client is acting up and not giving us the communication or the feedback that we need? Do we, at least from our side, keep something in place with you and keep you informed about what's going on in the process? So those little things count to all sides in these kind of processes. Of course, candidate number 2, he's done everything to have me looking out for him for years to come. You must remember, when you work well with select headhunters who are committed to their industry and who are really knowledgeable about their industry and who are passionate about what they are doing, so they're always striving to do an excellent job, because we understand the impact that the candidates that we place can have into these organizations that we are working with, and we want them to succeed and do well. And similarly, we understand that the candidates that we are representing them. It's such a big change to make, because it's your whole life. When you change jobs, when you buy a new house, when you get married, when you get kids, or lose a very close family member. Those are very big things in people's lives. And so we are representing all of that, and we really are these master intermediaries trying to bring these parties together and get the best for everyone out of that. And so when you find headhunters like that, that's really passionate about what they do, it's worth to build these long-term relationships with them. Even if you are not in the market right now, you don't know, in future you might need their services to recruit people for your team. And it's much easier if you already have some exposure to the quality of the work that they do, or you might need them to help you to find a new position. And, even in cases nowadays where candidates approach me that are working for the clients that I recruit for, because ethically I can't recruit from and for the same client, so I can't help you then to make a shift in your career at this stage. Maybe once you've made a move on another round, I can then again help you to make the move after that. But in the meantime, there's a lot of things that I can help you with, whether it's market intel, salary benchmarking, whether it's the way to approach, putting your CV together, some career coaching things that I can help you with. I mean, I've got a whole course that I share with a lot of people in terms of interviewing techniques and in terms of CVs and LinkedIn profiles and all kinds of things. It's very helpful to individuals when they are actively in the market looking for something new. And so there's a lot of value add. Similarly, you as an individual have got a lot of industry intel that you can help me with and educate me on and help me to raise my game, to understand exactly what you do and to be able to represent you and others in the market better. Also, you could refer candidates, and of course, you can buy yourself goodwill for years with client companies, with headhunters, with the candidates that you refer onto the right headhunters who are actually successfully placed in the roles. And, as you develop those relationships, they can become so rich and rewarding for everyone who is really in this for the long haul and committed to doing this excellently in the industry that we are working in. So after all of that, the big point I want to make is, when the headhunter calls, take the call and be nice, because you don't know when you will need them.